From Nutrien Ag Solutions, I'm Senior Meteorologist Andrew Pritchard with your Canadian Prairie Weather story for Monday, March 6th, 2023. Because I can't leave anything alone here, I have to let you know that my normal microphone here, my external mic, is not wanting to register with the laptop this morning. So I'm having to use my computer's internal microphone to record this video. So I'm saying that just to say that the quality may not be what it typically is. That's the reason why. If you don't notice, then well, maybe I should have just not said anything at all. But Monday morning, let's get into it. Unfortunately, we've seen the colder air make its way back into parts of the prairie. Maybe some of you are happy about this, but this kind of minus 25 air that's typically been, a little bit north of us over the northern tier of the prairie provinces, if not a little bit further north for much of the last month or so. We've seen a shot of that slide in here. We'll see that begin to fade as we go through the next 5 to 10 days. Not much in the way of precipitation on the radar right now. Some scattered snowfall between Calgary and Medicine Hat down into parts of far southwestern Saskatchewan this morning. We'll see that light snow kind of continue over the next 24 to 48 hours, especially across southern portions of Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. The pattern right now as we look at the jet stream is really dominated by this big trough across the Pacific Northwest, parts of British Columbia. Let me animate this one more time for you. You can see this really tight circulation right there in the center of it. This is going to kind of link up with the subtropical jet over the next 5 to 10 days, delivering a lot of precipitation to this region here, parts of California, the southwestern United States. What's also going to happen, though, is we're going to see times where we see kind of disorganized opportunities for precipitation on the northern edge of this. So this is not going to focus a lot of moisture across the prairie, but it's going to at least get us some chances for light doses of snowfall, more than these inconsequential snowfalls, the actual opportunity to stack up a few inches, even if it is maybe only somewhere between 2 to 6 inches of snow. It's a little moisture there on top of the soil. Now here it is, again, very amplified pattern. This major ridge over Alaska, dipping down into a big trough across the Pacific Ocean and the border here with Canada and the western United States. Again, so a lot of moisture going to be focused across this region right here over the next 10 days. But as this pattern evolves, I'll animate it here. At times, we see systems give us that upper level divergence there on the leading edge of the trough. And we'll look at what that actually does here with the NAM model, the precipitation forecast. Again, over the next 3.5 days, really going to be pretty light and focused across areas probably south of Highway 1, certainly south of Highway 16. We'll look at the snowfall totals, the NAM on the left, the European on the right, both of these through midday Thursday, March 9th. And there you see it, kind of south of Highway 16, the opportunity for a light coating. And as you get south of Highway 1, that's what we're talking about, maybe a few inches of snow here as we head through the next few days. Now, as we take it through the next 10, this is where you see just about everybody across the prairie has the opportunity to pick up some accumulating snow as we really get closer to the weekend into early next week, which is why I hate getting too confident about it. We've kind of seen this before in years past, where it's not the right pattern to focus a lot of moisture in here, and I think that we're going to get some kind of lighter disturbances to make their way in. We'll see what the snowfall totals actually look like. That's really what my advice is here. We're looking at 10 days of snowfall accumulations from the deterministic run of the European model. So while it's giving us optimism for more active pattern, the actual snowfall amounts over the next 10 days will vary from what we see right here. Still, it's promising to get a little moisture in here, and I know some folks will take that. Now here's the European forecast, the operational run, the deterministic run. So as we get deeper into this model animation, that's where we have to, again, understand that we've got some uncertainty built in within that. But what I want to show you is, notice the kind of consolidation of the jet stream right through this corridor, bringing all of that moisture into parts of California. Again, it's looking troubling across parts of California as we flip from drought to a lot of moisture across the region. They've had a lot of snowfall on parts of the Rockies and the Sierras here, and they're going to get a lot of potentially rainfall on top of that here over the next 10 days. But let me pause this, and I'll show you specifically what it is I'm talking about across the prairie that gives me some optimism, at least for some chances. Now, over the next few days, we're kind of on the northern edge of this, and that's where, again, we see just enough lift here to give us some scattered light snowfall. But as we get into the weekend, this is Friday, this is where we see, here's the potential for one of these little disturbances to kind of ride over the top of this faster corridor of jet stream winds. We get these little disturbances. There's another one right here that could potentially give us some light precipitation, some light upper level divergence here as we get into the early part of next week. But let me drag this out a little further. This is what I'm trying to kind of illustrate. Here's that wave over Friday. And then as we get into Monday and Tuesday, you see another trough kind of running over the top of this very fast flow off to the south. Same thing potentially here as we get toward midweek, but you see the jet stream beginning to split. This is where some of the details here, I really have to kind of just hold back on getting too confident in anything as we certainly get into the March 15th and 16th time frame. Now, as we look at the ensemble, this is going to kind of take more of an average, and this is where you really get the idea that this is not a pattern that focuses a lot of energy on the prairie, on Western Canada. Much of the upper level jet stream is going to focus its action right here, transporting a lot of Pacific moisture into California. We're just going to simply be kind of looking for opportunistic times here to get some light doses of snow. As I just show you the wide view, the European model, the operational deterministic run, again, understand the exact amounts will vary, but notice the active areas here. West of the Rockies along the Pacific coast, and then down here across the southern U.S., that's not, anything new. It's been active down there over the last 1 to 2 months. Chances for some significant snowfall across the Dakotas and maybe the southern tier of Saskatchewan and Manitoba. But in general, much of the region here, much of the prairie provinces here, at least a chance of a few tenths, maybe a half an inch of rainfall here, or I should say of moisture, likely coming in the form of snowfall. As we look at the ensemble forecast here, the probability of getting half an inch of precipitation or more over the next 10 days, again, the highest probabilities west of the Rockies here, and then across the northern plains, parts of the upper Midwest, down into the south and south central United States. Here across the prairie, it's not nothing. It's not a complete shutout, but we're talking more like the 30, 40, 50% chance of picking up that half an inch of moisture. So reason to maybe cross your fingers here and do a little, rain or snow dance, whatever it is you would like to do. It's not a shutout over the next 10 days. It's not as, wet as it could potentially be. If you're not a fan of the cold temperatures, if you're thinking, if it's not going to snow a lot, it might as well not be super cold. Whatever side of the fence you find yourself on, the cold begins to fade as we get through midweek into the weekend. Here's your next 10 days in Calgary. Again, highs around -7, -8 through the end of the week, getting back above freezing as we get into early next week. Edmonton, you can see that warm up begin here midweek as well. Same look in Saskatoon, same look in Regina. Winnipeg, a little bit further east, you see that dramatic warm-up here over the course of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week, and then we kind of stall out over the weekend into early next week. Those highs just a few degrees shy of the freezing mark. Have a wonderful week. Talk to you again next Monday.